What's up, everyone? This time I'm back with a few reviews of some of the last couple of movies I saw in 2022. And I really wanted to talk about them while they're in theaters, so I don't want to waste too much time and let's get started. The first movie I'm going to be talking about is the new A24 film, The Whale. Well, with 2022 being the year for A24, you bet I was intrigued by their big December release of the year, being one that features the comeback of Brendan Fraser. The Whale wasn't just a film that interested me because of that, but more so because this is also the comeback of Darren Aronofsky. If you don't know who that is, this is a director known for creating some of the most dark and depressing films I have ever seen, and I honestly love him for it. This is the director that has tried so many different things and managed to create some very powerful films about obsessions and flawed individuals. He's not the most accessible director, as a lot of people hate how far he goes with some of his films. I mean, have you seen Mother? I have. And I'll tell ya, I certainly can't forget that film. Despite being a love him or hate him kind of guy, when he brings films as emotionally powerful as stuff like The Wrestler, Black Swan, and most importantly, Requiem for a Dream, he managed to be one that has constantly stuck with me. The Whale isn't quite his strongest work, but it emphasizes a lot of what I love seeing from this director. This is a film that tackles those emotional heights that a lot of Darren Aronofsky work has done before, being about a 600-pound man reuniting with his daughter. It's a film mostly held together through dialogue with not a lot of location and a very small cast, which is expected since this is also based on a play. It is also a very dark film in a lot of ways. It doesn't shy away from the harsh emotions that characters can have, as this film is fixated on the relationship between Brendan Fraser's character and his daughter. If anything, it can arguably be too mean-spirited with how the daughter is in this, even if you can kind of understand where she's coming from, being someone with a lot of resentment. Yet, within the cruelty of it all, the biggest element that does hold it together is Brendan Fraser. This is a guy who people really have come around to on being a very likable star, and I can't fault him with a lot of the really charming roles he has done over the years. The praise he is getting for this film is definitely worth it, since not only does he have a good physical transformation, but also just really embellishes this character as the sympathetic man who is trying to do the right thing, even despite his destruction. I know some have critiqued the film for the fact that Brendan Fraser is playing an overweight man, and might not be crazy about the portrayal of a fat person here. Yet, I don't think this was entirely done with bad taste. It does show the ugly extreme side of it at points, and it can be very uncomfortable. But Brendan Fraser does bring humanity to this character, where you see more than him just being an overweight person. He's someone who does try his very best to see the good in people, and loves the authenticity someone can bring out if they really want to. It does feel real at many points, and Aronofsky is good at that. It doesn't surprise me that Fraser's role is a frontrunner for Best Actor, because say what you will about Darren Aronofsky, but this is a guy who is able to bring some very powerful performances in his films. Anytime a Darren Aronofsky movie comes out, there's always at least one or two performances that appear in his films that might be a contender for career best from a talented actor. And that's not even limiting it to just Brendan Fraser in this film, as every single actor in this movie does give it their all in making you believe they really are their character. I say next to Brendan Fraser, the best performance in this movie goes to Hong Chow easily. She plays his caretaker and she kills it with some very powerful emotions in every scene she's in. Even taking the performances out of it, this is still a very well directed film and does come across as being authentic very well, thanks to how Darren Aronofsky makes this small scale story feel rather personal. And I think the way he works with actors does come across that way very well here. As stated though, this isn't his best work. I think films like Requiem for a Dream and Black Swan managed to excel even further when it comes to emotional resonance. It is partially because it does feel a tiny bit repetitive at points where they handle the daughter in this, who, while great performance by Sadie Sink, does come across as a little mean. maybe too mean for some. It's not really a film for everyone. Then again, Darren Aronofsky isn't the most accessible director when his films go to very dark and emotional places. Yet at the same time, the film's core about humanity and finding the good even in the worst of places still comes across very genuine here. Thanks to an incredible work from the team by Darren Aronofsky, The Whale certainly is one film that comes recommended by me if you want to witness something that is still very authentic from people who try to be genuine throughout a good majority of their careers. So take that for what it's worth. And I'm going to give The Whale a 9 out of 10. The other major movie I saw recently to end off 2022 was Babylon. Now, this is a film that was easily one of my most anticipated of the last moments of 2022. Babylon is the newest film from director Damien Chazelle, who is honestly one of my favorite directors. He is in charge of creating some of my all-time favorite movies with both the back-to-back duo of Whiplash and La La Land. He also did First Man, which was okay. However, Babylon looked like it was going to be a return to form for Chazelle. A film set in the 1920s Hollywood during the transitional period of silence to talkies sounds like it has potential from a director who clearly has a love for classic cinema. The downside is, Babylon has not been doing so hot at the box office. The film has been met with mixed reviews, and also just isn't performing as well as one would expect a big film with gigantic stars with so much money behind it would make. And honestly, it is an absolute shame because when watching this film, I think it might be a prime example of the kind of thing I've always looked for in film. Babylon might be just one of my absolute favorite movies of the entire year. This is a film that is bold with so much passion and energy behind it that I haven't seen to this big of a scale outside of Everything Everywhere All at Once. This is one damn fine film if you ask me. The premise deals with multiple different people working in 1920s Hollywood, and it shows how it was for those workers and how things panned out for them in the industry. A lot of people might expect a story that glorifies Hollywood to an unrealistic degree, and it can be assumed since La La Land did contain a lot of that love and passion that can be seen in Hollywood. Yet, the film also takes a page from Whiplash by being a film that is rather critical of the system. Babylon doesn't shy away from the harsh reality that occurred a lot during that time, with how many different talented artists were mistreated during that time period, especially during such a transitional period for film. It can get very extreme at points for some, and in many ways, it does reflect a lot of frustrations that went on for so many talented people to get taken advantage of. Yet, what got me so engaged with this film from beginning to end was just how masterfully crafted this all was. Chazelle's direction is on fire here, with every single little bit of editing, camera work, and scene structure making me feel immersed with all the excessive partying and wild moments this film has. And let me tell you, boy, this movie gets wild. As I remember a friend telling me that they thought the opening to The Whale was gross, and I won't spoil either of them in terms of what happened, but if you ask me, what happens in the opening of Babylon is a lot grosser. It's a very well-directed film, and that's not even considering the other talents that make this film so memorable, as the performances are also all top-notch, as this is a film that focuses on a lot of different characters of different backgrounds, and I found them all interesting in their own way. The main duo is a pair of characters named Manny Torres and Nellie Leroy, played by Diego Calva and Margot Robbie. And both characters are played phenomenally. Calva, who's an up-and-comer, brings a great sense of charisma with how much he wants to see the talent he supports succeed, and tries to stop at nothing to make their dreams come true. Margot Robbie is also fantastic as this actress who wants to be big into the spotlight, And for a movie that has this much frenetic energy to it, every single scene she's in, she's able to keep up with it. Especially during the big dance sequences, and also moments where she ends up doing a lot of shocking things, to a point where this is easily one of my favorite performances from her. The rest of the cast is also great here, as they all have their moments to shine, and all their stories do tie into how Hollywood can be soul-crushing in their own way. However, that does lead to, unfortunately, my biggest issue with the film. Babylon is a 3-hour movie, and some may say that it is an indulgent one. A lot of that self-indulgent is intentional, as this is a film about excessive culture and how it can be damaging to a person. And some scenes going on for as long as they do are meant to emphasize the tedium of working on a movie. I didn't mind the length because I think Damien Chazelle did bring his point across very well in numerous well-directed scenes that do feel authentic. In fact, this might sound crazy, but a part of me wants to see a longer cut of this movie. Why do I say that? Well, the real issue I have with the movie is that this is a film that focuses on a lot of different characters, and it has a lot of amazing directions with its themes they're trying to convey here. Certain characters have stories in this that do involve the fact that upper-class wealthy people unfairly take advantage of people of different backgrounds, and the movie has a lot of scenes where they go into these characters who are feeling this way. However, there's a part of me that feels like it could have gone even further with that element. I think a prime example is a scene later on where they're filming a musical and one of the characters we focus on is playing music for that scene. And he makes a great comment about how the cameras should be pointing to something else, referring to the people of different backgrounds doing all the work. That kind of stuff is great to see tackled here, but I just wish the film focused more time on some of those characters. While I don't think some of those indulgent and excessive scenes are superfluous to the film, it does seem like maybe some of that could have been exchanged for more development for some of the other characters, because I did find all of their stories compelling, that I just think the film would have been a bigger push from me if they went all the way. Yet, I still think this movie is held together very well, thanks to all the incredible things about this movie, like the performances, the cinematography, the editing. Do I even need to mention how amazing the score by Justin Hurts is? It seriously might be my favorite score of the entire year, next to The Batman. That's how good this music is in this movie. I also think it's told very well thanks to the ending, which I have been really starting to grow to love. On the surface, it does sound like a cheap move, but what I've been really starting to appreciate is that it is a film that is all about the importance of art. Why art has this lasting impression that no matter who made it or what it is, it's a way of having that sense of work immortalized into something that lasts forever. It's a main theme discussed plenty of times, particularly with Brad Pitt's character, who I also found good in the movie, but it's really emphasized more in the ending. Again, I don't want to reveal exactly what happens here, but I think for a film that's all about filmmaking, Chazelle did a good job showcasing the importance of why no matter how rough it can get, the final end product that appears after that hard work can make it feel worth it in the end. In a year where we got so many great movies that will be remembered forever in that same vein, I'm glad one of the last major films of this year is one that really goes into that love and care thematically. So overall, I highly recommend checking out Babylon for what it was able to do as this big, grand epic from Damien Chazelle. Please check it out at theaters, because honestly, I wish I had that full-on audience experience like Margot Robbie mentioned right before the movie starts. If you saw this at a Regal Theater, by the way. A film with so much ambition, energy, and just all-around masterwork should not go unignored, especially from a man who was able to bring us the movie that has J.K. Simmons at his peak. So take that for what it's worth. And I am definitely going to give Babylon a 9 out of 10. So those are my quick thoughts on both of those movies. What did you happen to think about The Whale or Babylon if you've seen them? Let me know in the comments below, and I'll see you guys again next time. Later.